You brushed on the subject of Iran. This has been a pressing issue for the United States right now, almost crisis mode. And you mentioned, India gets about 10% of its oil imported traditionally from Iran. How significant was Iran part of your discussions today? You mentioned the word common ground discussing about trade. Minister, was there any discussion or areas of common ground in how the West and India confronts Iran? And maybe you could also discuss some of the areas of disagreement. And I would just have one follow-up on the issue of trade. Was there any discussion about the U.S. lifting President Trump's decision to end having India on the GSP and reversing that decision? Thank you.
I'll take the second one. You can take the first one. We didn't discuss the lifting of that. What we agreed we would do was we'd go work through the problem set. That we'd go, there are tariffs and counter tariffs, and we said we're going to do our best to make sure that all the right people get in all the right places and work through these problem sets so that we can get out of this and get on with the business of growing each of our two economies.
Again, it's a little bit of a repetition, but really, we have a certain perspective on Iran, obviously, from where we are based, and the Secretary shared with me the American concerns on Iran. I would say, frankly, I guess both of us certainly came out much better informed of each other's concerns in that regard. In terms of common ground, though I used it for trade, we have common ground on energy as well. For us, it is important that any global energy supplies remain predictable, that they remain affordable. And I think that's a concern to which Secretary Pompeo was certainly very, very receptive. I think he understands that this is today the world's fifth largest economy, which imports 85% of its energy, a large part of it from the Gulf. So I think he certainly gets, I guess I'm speaking for him, but I think looking at his face, he certainly gets what our interests are.
I'll just add on Iran, Chris. Look, we all know that we need to keep that waterway open for the reasons that were just described. We also know that Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terror. And we know the Indian people, they have suffered from terror around the world. So I think there's a shared understanding of threat and a common purpose to ensure that we can keep energy at the right prices and deter this threat, not only the threat in the narrow confines of the Middle East, but the threat that this terror regime poses to the entire world.
Thanks. We'll now have Jennifer Hansler from CNN.